So, so the resemblance. Now, what is resemblance? It means the look alike or similarity. Resemblance का शब्द का अर्थ है that is similarity or look alike. So, who will be similar? The genetically those who are very close to each other, they will be similar to each other. That means full shapes. Full shapes will be more similar than the half shapes. Okay? Because full shapes they receive the genetic material from both the common parents. There is father and mother, both are common. Half shapes only one parent is common, other parent is not common. That's why they will be little bit dissimilar. Similar, but less degree of similarity will be less. Similarly, the relationship if the between father and son, or the father and daughter, or mother and son, mother and daughter, they are called direct relatives. So in this case also, the relationship degree of relationship will be much higher, because and sometimes we used to heard this word बाप का बेटा बोलता है ना. That means that offsprings, the son is 100% looks like his father, or the daughter looks like her mother, because there is close similarity. Why that either that son or daughter receives half of its genetic material directly from the father or directly from the mother. So the relationship kitna hai? Relationship is the 50% or the 0.5 or 50%, because half of the genetic material is transmitted from father to son or mother to son. So this is the most closest relationship. Another relationship is there. The similarity, in terms of similarity, that is monozygotic twin. Monozygotic twins, they are similar 100%, because if the monozygotic means when one zygote is cleaved in or half into two daughter cell, and both the daughter cell will develop the independent progeny, then they will be called the monozygotic twins. And monozygotic twins are genetically same 100%. So that's why their similarity, they are much more similar to each other. It will be very difficult to Sita and Gita, the who is Sita and who is Gita, who is Ram and who is Rahim. So it will be very difficult to if they are the monozygotic twins. So next, now we have to utilize this kind of resemblance in the estimation of heritability. So hence, resemblance between relatives means similarity between related individuals. Now, related individuals look alike because they share some genes in common as well as the common environment. Naturally, the relatives, as I have said, the different types of relatives, and there is the degree of relationship will differ depending upon the degree of relationship. As I have said, that son or the daughter are much more closely related with their father or with their mother, and full ships are also closely related. So the degree of relationship and the half ships, they are quite wider relationship is there in place of full ships. So again, if one person, the grandson or granddaughter relationship with the grandsire or grandsire or the granddam is some distance relationship is there. That means there are two generations ahead. Then the relationship will be equally halved. The grandsire will transmit half of his genetic material to the father, to his son, and that son will transmit half of its genetic material. That is 1/4 of the genetic material of the grandsire to the granddaughter, to the grandson. That's why the relationship, that means, as I have said in the very beginning of this class, that it is heredity is the halving process. Heredity is the halving process. Each and every generation, that genetic material is halved. That is, half of the genetic material is being transmitted from parents to offspring. So each and every generation, the genetic material of the common ancestor is half. So common ancestor जो है वो इनका common grandson को कितने genetic material मिलेगा? Half into half, that is 1/4. That means 1/4 of the genetic material will be common. That 1/4 means 25%. As between the relationship between father and son, or the father and daughter relationship is the 50%, because half is transmitted directly. But when grandfather is transmitted its genetic material to the grandson through the son or daughter, then its genetic material will be halved twice. एक बार तो आपने बेटा बेटी को जब दे रहे हैं उस टाइम पे हाफ हो रहा है, फिर बेटा बेटी जब दे रहे हैं, that means that genetic material of the grandfather or grandsire is being halved again. So half into half, that is 1/4. That means the relationship between the grandson and the daughter, grandson and the grandsire is 25%. Clear? So this is the relationship and the resemblance. So the resemblance between relatives depends upon the common genes, and they also share the common environment, because the offspring who produce, they are being brought up in the same environment, they are sharing the same food, naturally they are sharing the same common environment. That's why their relationship or the resemblance will be much higher in comparison to the distant relatives. So different sort of relatives will show different degrees of resemblance. More close relatives will show more relative. The degree of resemblance between relatives is the property of metric characters. Now see, the degree of resemblance between relatives is the property of metric characters. Now the linkage is there. That what is the linkage that we have to find out, the resemblance between relatives and the property of the metric character. Koi character has milk production, egg production, wool production, whatever may be the economic traits that you see. What is the kind of relationship between the resemblance and the metric characters that we shall see, and how that will be estimated through the observational component of variance. Now, the objective of the study of this topic, that is resemblance between relatives, it helps in grouping of relatives according to their family. Okay? So it helps in grouping of relatives according to their family. That will किस तरह का family है, they are whether half sheep family or the full sheep family, or the relationship between parent offspring, grandson, granddaughter, like this. So it will help in grouping of the different kind of relatives. Helps in partitioning observational component of variance. Now, one thing is that I have stated this first time, that is the observational component of variance. Up till now, whatever we have seen, and that is variance, that is total variance, phenotypic variance, is partitioned into the different components, and they are called the causal component of variance. Causal components of variance means the total phenotypic variance depends on the genotype of the individual, that is called the genotypic variance, and environment in which they are raised or subjected, that is called environmental variance. So these environment, genotype and environment, these are the cause effect causing the responsible for the total phenotypic variance. So these are called the causal component of variance. And if we measure the character, say for example, the milk production, estimate the milk production of all the relatives, and then if we, for that we can also estimate the variance. As you know that when we calculated the variance in statistics, how to calculate, if different values are given, so we estimate the variance. So what is the formula of variance? Variance is the mean sum of the square deviation when values are deviated from the population mean. So this is the simple variance. But when we are talking about the variance of relatives, then we have to take the we have to measure the character of the relatives. Relatives means, suppose that is all the females they are related to each other. All the daughters, they are related to each other of a particular sire. Sire is having suppose 10 daughters, and all 10 daughters maybe produced from the 10 different cows, or maybe produced from the 5 different cows. So that means there is relationship, that is all the 10 daughters, they are related to each other because they are sharing some genes in common, getting from the sire. Sire is common. And if even if the dam are different, that means all the progeny are called half sheaves. If dam are different, then all the 10 progenies, 10 daughters, they are called half sheaves because their one parent is common, sire is common. Okay? So that when we are estimating the character, and we have to estimate the variance, and that type of variance is called the observational component of variance. Clear? That means observational components, when we estimate the variance from the observed value, that is called observational component variance or observed variance. So the degree of resemblance provides the methods of estimating the amount of additive genetic variance. See, this is the importance that we want to know, that is additive genetic variance. We want to estimate the additive genetic variance because how much of the total variance is being transmitted from parents to offspring, that is VA. So we have to separate out that VA from the total variance, and we have to estimate the heritability. So that degree of resemblance between relatives provides the methods of estimating the amount of additive genetic variance. This is the important part, and we are interested on this part. And as a result, it provides the methods to estimate the heritability. Ultimately, our objective is to estimate the heritability of the character. Next, the type of variance, as I was talking about, that is the causal components of variance. It is denoted as V, capital V. So, example, the VP is equal to VG plus VE. Again, VG is equal to VA plus VD plus VI, and VE is equal to VEG plus VES. So, ultimately, total theoretic variance VP is equal to VA plus VD plus VI plus here VEG plus VES. You can write. So, these all are called the causal components of variance. That means total theoretic variance depends on the additive values, Levinas effect, interaction effect, general environmental effect, and the special environmental effect. So these are all the that's why this is called causal component of variance. And next, in the next step, you see the observational component variance. It is denoted as sigma square, not V. It is denoted as sigma square. It is also variance, stands for variance. And sigma square P stands for phenotype, G for genotype, E for environment. So sigma square P is called genotype variance, sigma square G is equal to genotype variance, and sigma square E is equal to environmental variance. Again, genetic variance is partitioned into the sigma square A plus sigma square D plus sigma square I plus sigma square E, or the sigma square EG plus sigma square ES. So these are the observational component variance. We can partition all the components, and we can estimate that what is the importance of a particular variance for its contribution in the total phenotypic variance. Okay. So this VA or sigma square A, this is the additive genetic variance, and the VD plus VI, this is called non-additive genetic variance, and VD plus VI plus VE all are called non-genetic variance. This is called non-genetic variance. So observational components of variance like this. So the observed components of variance can be estimated directly from the observed phenotypic values, and for this region they are called observational component variance. ठीक है, अपग्रेड कर देते हैं, इसके बाद हम फिर एक्सटेंड करेंगे. Next, the relatives are correlated to each other due to presence of common genes. The amount of correlation depends on the degree of relationship. The correlation between relatives is the resemblance between relatives. Okay? Correlation between relatives is the resemblance between relatives, and the covariance is used to measure the correlation between relatives. Okay? Covariance is used to measure the correlation between relatives. That you know, that is you know the definition of correlation. Correlation is the association or interdependence between the two or more variables. So here covariance is used to measure the correlation between relatives, and that the degree of resemblance between relatives is the amount of covariance measured as a proportion of the total phenotypic variance. So we want to estimate the degree of resemblance between relatives. So what is the degree of resemblance between relatives? It is the amount of covariance measured as a proportion of the total phenotypic variance. See the for the next slide. So here you see, in case of the full shifts in the last line, the FS stands for full shift. So covariance of full shifts, the character is measured on the full shifts. That is the full daughters, full sisters. If we take the example of the milk production, is a character which is estimated between the two daughters, and they are the full shifts. So if we have such type of
सर ये फुल सिप्स, फुल डॉटर और हाफ डॉटर क्या होता है?
बोलो बोलो
सर आपने कहा ये फुल और हाफ क्या होता है?
मैंने बताया ना पहले,
हेलो,
किसको बोलते हैं? फुल सिप माने सागा भाई बहन। हिंदी में बोल रहे हैं सागा भाई बहन। व्हाट इज सागा भाई बहन? दैट मींस फादर मदर बोथ आर कॉमन।
अच्छा,
अपना भाई बहन,
ओके सर,
अपना भाई
समझ
बहन
गई।
सागा, इसको सागा भाई बहन बोलते हैं, तो दे आर कॉल्ड फुल सिप्स। ठीक है ना? अगर एक
यस,
पेरेंट कॉमन है,
ओके।
फादर कॉमन है, फादर कॉमन बस हायर कॉमन है, देन दोनों माँ अलग अलग है। फादर कॉमन है, दोनों माँ अलग है, तो उसका जो बच्चे हैं दे आर कॉल्ड हाफ सिप्स। वो सागा
ओके
भाई
सर,
बहन नहीं
थैंक यू
कहेंगे,
सर।
उसको हाफ सिप कहेंगे। हाफ सिप किसको करेंगे? जब offsprings whose one parent is common, they are called half sibs. Offsprings whose both parents are common, they are called full sibs. Clear?
यस सर।
कोई भी डाउट है पूछ लेना, क्लियर कर देंगे। तो आगे बढ़ते हैं। सो मेजरमेंट ऑफ कोवेरिएंस। सो in case of full sibs, the observed phenotypic variance is partitioned into total components, two components. One is between groups sigma square b, and within groups sigma square w. So the degree of resemblance between full sibs is termed as interclass correlation and denoted as T. Is T is equal to sigma square b by sigma square b by sigma square w. That is sigma square b between between group components of variance is represented as covariance. As I was talking, that covariance of full sibs by total phenotypic variance. And total phenotypic variance, as I have said, that is total observed phenotypic variance is partitioned into two components. One is between group variance and the within group variance. Between group variance is denoted as sigma square b, and within groups denoted by sigma square w. W stands for within, b stands for between. So uh, and the degree of resemblance between full sibs is termed as interclass correlation, and this interclass correlation is represented as T, small t. Small t is equal to the ratio of sigma square b by sigma square b plus sigma square w. Sigma square b and sigma square w both together constitutes the total variance, that is sigma square p, that is observed phenotypic variance. And sigma square b is represented as covariance of full sibs. What is covariance of full sibs? Covariance of full sibs is it measures the correlation between the full sibs. Because you know the formula of the R. R means correlation. Correlation formula क्या है? Correlation covariance of xy, covariance of xy by variance of dependent variable. ठीक है ना? That it has come from that the interclass correlation. It is T is equal to sigma square b by sigma square b by sigma plus sigma square w. And sigma square b plus sigma square w together constitute the total variance. Now parent offspring relationship, कितने प्रकार का देखो relationship है parent offspring. In case of parent offspring relationship, the grouping of observation is made into pairs rather than groups. One parent with one offspring, one parent with mean of several offspring, mid parent with one offspring, mid parent with mean of several offspring. Why I am talking all these things? Because in case of animal, that is when you will be posted in a particular, that is a livestock farm, when you will find the record, when you will find the record of the milk production, then we will found that in a particular farm that such and such sires were used for the production of the progeny, and such that they have the records is such type of relationship, one parent one offsprings, and one parent and mean of several offspring. Suppose एक parents का several number of daughters are there, that means the relationship should be one parent and mean of all these daughters. That is, and mid parent, suppose that is body weight. Body weight is can be measured for both the sire and dam. So mid parent with one offsprings. So दोनों parents का जो average है, that is called mid parent. उसके साथ अगर एक offspring है, so that kind of relationship will be the mid parent with one offspring, mid parent with mean of several offspring. That means here in case of that is you just imagine in the form of correlation. Correlation का है दो variable है x and y. So here the one parent is called x, offspring is called y. So one parent, either one offspring, that is x and y, one parent with mean of several offspring denoted as y. So mid parent will be denoted as x, and one offspring will be denoted as y. Mid parent, again it is denoted as y ax, and mean of several offspring also will be denoted as y. You will be just imagine in this way, that is the two variables are there, x and y. Then we have to estimate the covariance and the degree of relationship. So covariance होगा प्लस हमको डिग्री ऑफ रिजेम्बलेंस निकलना है. डिग्री ऑफ रिजेम्बलेंस इज द रेशियो ऑफ कोवेरिएंस बाय द टोटल वेरिएंस. अब किस तरह का रिलेशनशिप है वो देखना है, whether the full sheaves, half sheaf, parent offspring, like this. So the resemblance between parent offspring is obtained through the estimation of covariance. Clear? The resemblance between parent offspring is obtained through the estimation of covariance. Now, the degree of resemblance between parent and offspring is expressed as a regression of offspring on parent, BOP. B stands for regression, regression of y1x. So regression of y1x means regression of that is y is the dependent variable and x is the independent variable. Here regression of OP means offspring and parent. That is offspring depends on the parents. That's why BOP, regression of offspring on parent, is equal to covariance between offspring and parent by the total variance, the total observed variance, sigma square p. So both genetic and environmental sources of variance contribute to the covariances of relatives. The covariances of phenotypic values being sum of the genetic and environmental covariances. Now, methods to estimate the genetic covariance. Now we are approaching towards the method, that is methods to estimate the genetic covariance. The direct relatives. In case of direct relatives, the covariances of offsprings with parent is computed from the sum of the cross products, and the degree of resemblance is expressed as the regression of offsprings on one parent. That is, here you see the BOP, that is regression of offspring on one parent. That is covariance of offspring and parent with the total phenotypic variance, where COV-OP is the covariance of offspring and parent, and sigma square P is the sigma variance of total phenotypic variance of the parent. Now, as I have said that there are four kinds of relationship, the offspring and one parent. In case of offspring and one parent, इस तरह का अगर observation है आपके पास, then we have to estimate the covariance of offspring, and here in terms of the causal component variance, ultimately you will find that total is equal to half VA. You just imagine, remember इतना ही portion, just all the steps you need not require to, but you can see the covariance of offspring parent, how it is derived. It is equal to sum of the genetic value of the parent and mean value of the progeny. ठीक है? Genetic value of the parent and mean value of the progeny ये आपको पास available है. So genetic value is equal to again genetic value of the parent and half of its breeding value. That means a mean. I was talking when we were taking the classes of the breeding value. As